Hey there, Southern. Welcome to another episode of Film Guy Reviews. I'm your film guy, Matthew St. Clair, and in the spirit of Halloween, I will give you a movie review and give you an early forecast on upcoming horror films on the horizon. First, let's open the gates into Crimson Peak. So Crimson Peak is about a writer named Edith, played by Mia Wasikowska, who gets swept off her feet by the mysterious Thomas Sharp, played by Tom Hiddleston. And after they both get married, she moves in with Thomas and his sister Lucille, played by Jessica Chastain. And from that point on, Edith is not only haunted by the literal ghosts of her past, but she must uncover the mystery that hides within the walls of Crimson Peak. Now, before I get into a little further, I'll just say, beware of Crimson Peak. But for the wrong reasons. But I'll get to those momentarily. I'll say what I liked about it. Now, first off, the movie looks beautiful. I thought the production design was stunning, as well as the costume design and the cinematography as well. And I also thought the actors, for the most part, do a fine job. Two of the standouts are Tom Hiddleston as the rather sly Thomas Sharp, and also Jessica Chastain as Lucille. While I did think at times Chastain got a little too scene-chewy, I had a lot of fun watching her villainous performance. But the good stuff kind of ends there. My biggest problem with the film lies in the script. Now, the film was marketed as a ghost story, but when it's mostly a gothic romance. But the thing is, if you think about it, if you were to take the ghosts out, you would still have the same movie, because to me they really had no purpose. It's not like director Guillermo del Toro's past work, Pan's Labyrinth or The Devil's Backbone, where his ghosts or creatures had some significance to the story. Like, for example, in Pan's Labyrinth, the pale man who had the big dinner table, he was like a symbol for the top of the hierarchical class system in times of war. So if it had just been a mystery romance, it probably would have had the same effect. And also, while she does a fine job with what she's given, Mia Wasikowska isn't really given anything to do other than act scared, wander, and investigate, and she repeats the same routine throughout. Now, Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy is also in this as a doctor who is infatuated with Wasikowska's character, and he's literally given nothing to do other than play the friend zone doctor. His character, like most of the film's plot, was riddled with cliches. And there was even a big reveal at the end of the film that I saw coming as the film progressed, which I won't reveal. But overall, I would say Crimson Peak is an incredibly stylized yet incredibly flawed effort from director Guillermo del Toro that is a lot like the red blood shown throughout. Splattered yet pretty sticky. So I would say beware of Crimson Peak, and I'd give it a grade of a C+. And now on to Film Guy's Film 411 to give you guys an early forecast on upcoming horror films on the horizon that'll hopefully get the bad taste of Crimson Peak out of our mouths. Let's take a look at the ghoulish selections in store. Now, coming in December is Krampus, which depicts a new kind of Christmas villain and stars Parks and Rec's Adam Scott, Toni Collette, and Fargo's Allison Tolman. While I wouldn't want to be on Krampus's list, I will certainly be on a list of people seeing this in theaters without checking it twice. Now, coming in January is The Forest, which is about a woman who goes to search for her sister in the Aokigahara forest, where people go to commit suicide. What's really frightening about this story or this film is that the forest that the main character goes in actually exists, and it's where people really do go to take their own lives. But it shows how truth can be scarier than fiction, I suppose. Also in January is The Boy, starring The Walking Dead's Lauren Cohan, where she plays a nanny that goes to watch a doll that an elderly couple treats as if it's their own son. But it turns out this doll is haunted or possessed. While I'm not overly fond of killer doll movies, this one looks like one I'd actually see in theaters. Next is the already terrifying looking The Witch, which made a big splash at this year's Sundance Film Festival, winning Best Director, and will be creeping its way into theaters in February. Now in the summer, The Warrens will return in the upcoming sequel, The Conjuring 2, The Enfield Poltergeist, which is based on a true story about a British family being the victim of a haunting in the 70s. And lastly, if you guys want monsters mixed with humor, who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters. The famous franchise will be rebooted and with an all-female cast, starring Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, and Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones of SNL fame. Chris Hemsworth, aka Thor, will also star, and a few original members will cameo. So those are just a few horror films on the horizon. If you want to check out my full review of Crimson Peak alongside my coverage of anything else related to film, please be sure to check out my website, www.filmguyreviews.blogspot.com, and you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at FilmGuy619. This is Matt St. Clair of Film Guy Reviews signing off. Happy Halloween.